This is Sergio with Cage Side Press. I am joined today by UFC flyweight Cody Durden. Cody, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain.
So first things first, I want to talk a little bit about you. How are you doing? How are you holding up with the pandemic and everything that's going on right now?
I'm doing well, wake up every morning, go to the gym, train, do my rehab, and just staying consistent with getting back in the cage, man. Gotta get what you put in.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that because you've had I'd say a breakthrough 2020. Obviously, it didn't end on the best note there with the injury. So I want to start by talking about the injury. How are you doing? How's the ACL holding up?
Man, I'm doing great. I went to the doctor last week. Actually said I'm a month ahead of schedule. Feels good. I'm rehabbing 3 times a week. At the end of the month, I'll be able to hit pads, boxing only, of course. And then at the end of April, I'll be able to run. So I'm just taking it slow because this again.
You said you put on some weight there. Is that a bulk to potentially go back up to 135, or is flyweight your home?
Yeah, flyweight's my home, man. Yeah, I right now I used to walk around at like 43, 40, around there, but now I'm like 151. But all PRs have gone up on bench press, and just the upper body's getting big, man.
I love it. I love that. I want to talk a little bit about what we had in 2020. I mean, you had a good year in 2020. You went 2-0 outside the UFC. You got signed. Then you had I'd say one of the best UFC debuts you could ask for. I mean, you fought a very, very dangerous Chris Gutierrez. You looked very, very good in the first round. Obviously, it ended up being a draw. And then obviously the fight to Jimmy Flick. How do you assess your 2020?
Man, it was great. It was a phenomenal year. My bank account looked great. I'm still off last year's money, so that's a plus as well. I got in the UFC on a 6-day notice. That was my second fight in 2 weeks, and I came out with a draw. So, or what way you look at it, I was at plus 30 going into that fight, and I got a draw with a very, very competitor. He won his last fight. He won by decision all 3 rounds. And yeah, man, I mean, it was a win-win situation for me.
Yeah, it was a great year. I want to talk a little bit about the Jimmy Flick fight. I mean, it was going really, really well, and then you got caught. So when you look back on that, obviously, if you could have done anything different, you wouldn't have gotten caught. But is there any positives to take away from that performance?
Yeah, man. There was a lot of things in that camp that went wrong. In November, I broke my toe. Actually teep kicked one of my teammates, and I caught his elbow. And I looked down, and my middle toes like pointed to the right. Oh shit! And so I fought through that. Then I go down to. I still want to fight because I show up to fight every time, and I freaking get pink eye. When I get down there, I wake up Wednesday. I was irritated. So we called the UFC doctor and told him about it and prescriptions, and we did everything we could to fight happen. Then 2 hours before we were gonna fight, the doctor called and he was, man, I can't fight. So then we had to schedule it weeks later, and I actually got stuck in Vegas too because the toe on the plane broke. Freaking app, and then I get in there ACL in the first round when I took him down, and the whole month was a that. So looking forward to the.
One of the interesting things about 2020 was the empty arena. Obviously, you got signed in 2020, so you've never really experienced the UFC at full capacity. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Oh, absolutely, dude. I feed off the crowd. I really feed off the crowd, and fighting with no fans is It's exciting, but it's just not the same feeling, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge announcement now that they're going to do some events in Florida. That has to excite you, knowing that your recovery is going well. You might be able to get back in there for one of these cards.
Yeah. UFC 261, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal in Jacksonville, Florida, April 24th. When I heard the news, I instantly got online and booked a hotel. And I knew that they were going to sell out quick. As he posted it, I went online and booked a hotel. And yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome! You're attending the event and everything. That's amazing. It's got to feel good to know that you're going to be one of the first people to attend a sold out arena event in all sports. That's got to feel awesome.
Yeah, man. I went to 5 events in 2019, 2 Bellators, 3 UFCs. Of course, 2020, I didn't get to go to any events, but I'm looking forward to going back, man.
Speaking of Florida, you've been spending some time there as well, getting some work in with some of the guys there at Top Team. How does it feel to go down there and train with guys like Kyoji Horiguchi and all of those guys?
Man, it's great. There's always something you can learn. I was staying in the dorm rooms. It was just eat, sleep, training, waking up, walking downstairs, going to train, going back in the evening. It was good, man. I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot.
I want to take a little bit of a flashback. I mean, you made a decision to not attend college right out of a high school, despite many scholarships. Looking back at that guy, is there any piece of advice you'd give to him, knowing where you're at now?
Man, just sometimes things happen, and it could be a blessing in disguise. And, my son at an early age and choosing to stay back and work and not go to college and take care of him, and blessing in disguise.
I want to talk about another moment to me, which is probably one of the craziest in your career. I know it didn't happen in the UFC, but April 27th, 2019, I'm sure you remember that night very well. 3 fights, 3 different sports, all in one night, and you get 3 wins. How crazy was that experience? And if I'm not mistaken, you took that on short notice as well.
Yeah, I took it on. I was an alternate, and then I didn't think I was going to get to fight because it was fight week. And then I got a call on Wednesday. They were like, "Hey, Cody, somebody, are you still want to come?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" So that was Wednesday, and I fought on Saturday. And plus, I had a fractured right hand, and I won the first match. It was a boxing match. I won all 4 rounds. And the second one was a kickboxing match. I won all 3 rounds, and then the finals was 3 5-minute rounds MMA, and I KO'd them in 30 seconds. Won $10,000 in the belt.
How crazy was it in between? I mean, I'm sure you're back there. You're like, okay, I just boxed. You're probably a little bit sore, and now it's like I got to go out and kickbox and then MMA. So describe what it was like in between those 3 fights. Like it would have been crazy. And how do you stay motivated in between?
Man, the first fight was at 7:30 p.m. and it was the first boxing match. And then I came back to the locker room, and Justin Gaethje was like, "Damn, dude, you can box." I was like, "Appreciate it." And he was like, "Who?" And I said, "Man, I don't have a corner, man. My coach Diego Lima's fighting in the UFC tonight, so he couldn't make it. So I just flew down here with my mom and dad and my granddad." He was like, "Oh, I was like, well, I'll be your corner, man. Dude, it would be an honor." And we went out there the second fight, and the second fight was like 11:45 p.m. So I had a huge gap in fighting, and we went out there and won. We come back, and yeah, we got back in the locker room at 11:45 p.m. And then they said, "Hey, Cody, next fight's in 15 minutes." And I was exhausted, dude. And like, "Yo, stay right here. I'm gonna go get you a Gatorade and a granola bar." And I was holding my side, and I was like, "Please, bro." We went out there. It was what it was by then. I was exhausted. Still stepped out there, and it went great. Picked him up, took him down, double leg, He stood up, slammed him. When I slammed him, I got 4 elbows.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. I have a hard time going between Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu sessions with an hour break in between. I can't imagine having the pressure of fights and money on the line and everything. So I can't even imagine that. Throughout your regional scene, you've spent a lot of time with NFC. I want to talk a little bit about that because they kind of developed you through. I mean, you've competed there as an amateur. It was also your last pro fight before making it to the UFC. Describe a little bit what it was like competing for NFC.
It was good, man. You know, we had our moments, times of disagreements, but for the most part, it was great. Great. You know, they provided the platform that I needed to become a better fighter.
All right, I want to end on one last note here. I mean, the flyweight division is rejuvenated now since the UFC decided to kind of keep it going. Is there any names on there that you're interested in? I mean, there seems to be more talent in that division than ever. Is there any names at the top of your tongue that you'd like to fight?
Man, I'm just gonna, see. I'm just gonna focus on myself and get my leg right. And when I come back, I'm willing to fight anyone, dude. I signed up to fight the best in the world, and that's what I'm gonna do. But I promise you this: that rematch is gonna happen with Jimmy Flick.
I love it. I'll end on this last note here. Is there anyone you'd like to thank? Any sponsors you'd like to shout out before we end it?
Yeah, I would like to thank my American Top Team, Team Lima family, and Barber Orthopedics. Thank you for everything.